After finishing last season 28th in the NHL in scoring, the Seattle Kraken knew they needed to improve their offense this offseason. With the free agent signing of Burakovsky and now a trade for Oliver Bjorkstrand, the Kraken have done just that. Both of these players should have a significant impact on improving the Kraken offense, and we'll take a look at it right now. Hey everybody, so today we're going to be talking about the Seattle Kraken and particularly the additions of Burakovsky and Oliver Bjorkstrand to that Kraken lineup and talk about the impact that these two guys can have on their offense and help this team score some more goals. Something that they desperately need to do after scoring just 2.6 goals per game last season, which was 28th best in the NHL. And in a year where NHL scoring was the highest it's been since the mid-90s, that offense was really lacking in Seattle, and these two guys should have a major impact on helping to fix that. So before we get into Burakovsky and Bjorkstrand, I want to take a look at just how bad the offense was, flat out bad the offense was in Seattle last season. Again, like I said, they scored just 2.6 goals per game, which was 28th out of the 32 NHL teams. But they only had 3 guys score 20 goals last season. They had nobody score 30. Jared McCann led the team with 27. Yanni Gourde and Jordan Eberle pitched in 21. And that was it for 20 goal scorers for Seattle. They only had 3 of them. And only Jared McCann reached 50 points on this team. I mean, he got 50 on the dot. And nobody else reached 50 points on the Kraken last season. I mean, this was a year in the NHL where scoring has been at its highest since Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr were lighting it up in Pittsburgh, and Seattle only had 1 guy reach 50 points and 3 guys reach 20 goals. I mean, the offense was not there last season, not nearly enough for the Kraken. So that was a major point of emphasis this offseason. It certainly wasn't the only thing that the Kraken needed to work on, but it was definitely a major point of emphasis this offseason for Seattle to try and get some more offense, particularly some more goal scorers in the lineup. And they've done just that. First with the free agent signing of Burakovsky, who's coming over from Colorado on a 5-year deal worth $5.5 million per season. And then they went out and traded for Oliver Bjorkstrand from the Columbus Blue Jackets, gave up a couple of draft picks, and were able to get Bjorkstrand, who has 4 more years left on his contract, at $5.4 million per season. Guys that are going to give you some good offensive production at very reasonable cap hits, right around $5.5 million. And I love these moves for the Seattle Kraken. I think overall, Seattle's had a pretty solid offseason so far, but I think these 2 moves are going to be real game changers for the Kraken and really inject some more goal-scoring ability into this lineup. Obviously, they got Shane Wright to play, in the draft down the middle, and they have Matty Beniers coming in for his first full season, which are huge, but these moves for a couple of scoring wingers is, I think, just as important for Seattle moving forward. So let's take a look here at Burakovsky. He's a left winger, can play the right side as well, can play either wing. Good size, 6'3", 201 pounds, 27 years old, right, in the prime of his career, coming off his best NHL season as we scroll down here. 22 goals last year with Colorado, which was a career high. 61 points, also a career high last season. Obviously a Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche team. And I don't necessarily think that Burakovsky, is going to produce at the same level because he's not going to have the same level of talent necessarily around him that he did in Colorado. However, I am expecting 50-plus points and at least 20 goals from Burakovsky this coming season. I think he's going to have a little bit more of a goal-scoring role with the Kraken than maybe he did in Colorado, where, 39 of his 61 points last season were assists. I don't think he's going to have the same assist number that he did last year with Seattle, but I think his goal total should be relatively similar, if not a little bit more. I could see him pushing up towards 25, 26, 27 goals, something like that. And maybe if he has a great year, he could possibly even hit the 30 goal mark. But either way, you know, this is a guy that is a proven 20-goal scorer coming off his best NHL season, coming off winning a Stanley Cup, his second Stanley Cup. You know, he won in Washington in 2018. You know, he had a little shortened year that year. He missed some time, but was pretty productive when he was healthy. And now he's just won another Stanley Cup in Colorado, so he's got that experience. He's got that playoff experience, and he's a really good offensive producer who, again, at 27 years old, is still right in the prime of his NHL career. So that signing in itself at 5 years by times $5.5 million per year was a very good move for the Seattle Kraken. But to make their offseason even better, they went out and they got Oliver Bjorkstrand, who Columbus needed to move with the signing of Johnny Gaudreau and then the re-signing of Patrik Laine. They needed to open up some cap space to be able to sign Laine. Bjorkstrand needed to go, and Seattle capitalized on that opportunity. Bjorkstrand, also 27 years old, also a winger, also a very good goal scorer coming off his career best season. So if you look at what Bjorkstrand did offensively last year in Columbus, 80 games played, 28 goals, which is a career high, 57 points, which is a career high. Definitely his best offensive season in the NHL. But this wasn't his only great offensive season. He had 18 goals and 44 points in 2021 in the shortened 56-game season. He only played 49 games in 2019-2020, but he had 21 goals in those 49 games. He had 23 goals the year before in 2018-19. Bjorkstrand is a guy that at this point, I think Seattle should expect 25 goals from, and if he has a good season, he could hit 30 or go over 30. I mean, he scored 28 last year. He very well could hit 30 goals this coming season. He certainly has this ability to do that. So when you look at Seattle's lineup and what they've brought in here with both Bjorkstrand and Burakovsky, you've got 27-year-old wingers who are, again, right in the primes of their careers, coming off career best seasons in both goal scoring and point totals. Bjorkstrand had 28 goals and 57 points, both career highs last season. Burakovsky had 22 goals and 61 points last season, also both career highs. So, these are major additions to the Kraken on relatively good contracts, reasonable contracts as far as cap hit is concerned. And guys are on a team that we go back and look last year really need some goal scoring because you had McCann with 27, you had Eberle and Gord get 21, Ryan Donato got 16. He wasn't even re-signed. So Donato's gone. He wasn't even brought back. Jarnkrok's gone. He was traded to Calgary and is now signed elsewhere, going to Toronto. Wenberg only had 11. He's out of players still on the Kraken roster from last season. Wenberg's fourth on the team in goal scoring with 11 goals. So that just shows you how goal deprived this team was last year. So all in all, I am very, very excited to see Andrei Burakovsky and Oliver Bjorkstrand in a Kraken uniform. I think they're both going to have very positive impacts on the Kraken, offensively in particular. And they're going to add some much-needed goal scoring into that lineup that they really did not have nearly enough of last year. Both of those guys are top six wingers. Both of those guys can put the puck in the net. Obviously, now Matty Beniers is going to be playing his first full NHL season. Very excited to see how he looks. And they got Shane Wright with the 4th overall pick, who, many thought was going to go 1 overall. So, you've got a real influx of offensive talent into this Kraken lineup for this coming season. This team should score a heck of a lot more goals this coming year than they did in their first season last year. This is going to be a different team offensively, and I think a much more productive team offensively. And I think Seattle's had a very good offseason overall. I mean, these are major additions that are going to have an immediate impact on this team. And I think all in all, Seattle should be a much improved team this year and score a lot more goals this year than they did last season. And I think that Bjorkstrand and Burakovsky are both going to play a huge role in that. So that's what I've got on the additions to the Seattle Kraken of Andre Burakovsky and Oliver Bjorkstrand. Thank you guys so much for watching and hope you enjoyed the video. And with that, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description if you'd like to further support the channel. The links to our merchandise store, memberships, and donations are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys soon.